Hello, hello. Hi everyone. It's CALC here, Chris Calcutt. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another live stream from Novation. And yeah, we've got something pretty exciting to share with you today because of course today we have launched the Launch Control 3. Here it is in all its glory. And yeah, it's a really, really lovely little control surface. A really powerful box as well. I mean, it's small, but it does a lot of things. And in this live stream, we're going to take a bit of a, kind of a deep dive, I guess, a good look at the sorts of things that you can do with Launch Control 3. Now, just to kind of, to go through kind of what we've got essentially, we've got a small control surface here. We've got 2 rows of encoders here. These are endless encoders. We've got 8 buttons down here as well. We've got a fabulous little screen. We'll take a good look at all of this stuff in detail as we move on, but just a really nice collection of controls here. It's really well built. That's one thing that I really think is really nice with the Launch Control XL. It's one of those sorts of things you can just throw in and out of your bag wherever you're going. So it's really portable and nice to take around with you. Now, another really nice thing, of course, is the fact we've got full-size 5-pin MIDI DIN on here as well. So not only is it a great controller for connecting directly to your software via the USB-C, we've got USB-C here, but also it's a really, really fantastic way to get hardware control over all of your hardware instruments as well. So there's a lot of stuff inside Launch Control XL, and I think maybe we should dive right into it. So let me see. What I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to switch over to something that I don't usually tend to do a great deal of, but here we go, Cubase. So here's a little Cubase set that we've got set up, and here's me. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Nice little surprise for you there. Yeah, here we go. So basically, Launch Control is really happy working essentially with with pretty much any DAW. We've got some really great scripts built already for Ableton Live, Cubase, Logic, Bitwig. We've also got HUI control on here as well, so you're able to take control of pretty much any DAW that's working with the HUI protocol. But yeah, I mean, it really integrates really nicely into many different DAWs. I remember many years ago when we originally launched the Launch Control, the original Launch Control. That was a long time ago. And that really was designed specifically as an Ableton controller. There was a little bit of FL Studio in there as well, but really its focus was on Ableton. But today it's really opened up. While we still have really great, strong control with Ableton, we've actually got a lot more additional DAWs have come into the frame with Launch Control as well. So let's switch back over here so we can see what's going on. The launch, there I am again. I should set up a button that does that automatically, shouldn't I? Anyway, there we go. So yeah, here we go. So here's the Launch Control, and essentially we've got our 16 encoders here. We've got LEDs underneath, RGB LEDs. So this is giving a nice kind of frame of reference that what we're working on. But I'm just going to switch here to my DAW mixer mode here. Now I don't know if you can see that on the screen. The screen actually is really, really usable. It's small, it is a small screen, but actually, you can quite easily see what's going on. I'm sitting, at my desk here, and I can quite easily read that it says Cubase there. And as I move through the different tracks, I get all the track names there as well. So we get some really great, useful feedback. Now I'm into the DAW mixer mode on here, and we generally have 2 kind of levels of control. We've got DAW mixer and DAW control. Now if you see here, if I start to move the encoders, immediately they're just linked directly into the into these tracks within Cubase. So without any kind of setup at all, the script is run, it just connects in, and away you go. Now also with the the Launch Control, the top row, in the mixer mode, sorry, I should say, the bottom row is going to control your mixer, but the top row can be set to do different things. So if I just kind of move left and right here, you can see, Hopefully just in those first two tracks you can see me going left and right. So we've got pan controls there. That's really nice, straightforward and easy to work with. In fact, I tell you what, let's just get a piece of music playing. So I've got this little thing set up here. I'm just going to hit play. Okay, so we've got this nice little jazzy bass thing that I came up with earlier. So yeah, if I move over to, let's see, to the bass part here. Now hopefully if you're listening in stereo, there's the volume. You should be able to tell now that's gone over to the right, over to the left. And so we've got that sort of control there. That's nice. But also if I scroll down a bit here, let's see if I can work out how Cubase works. It's been a little while for me with Cubase. Those were the days. But if I press down on the arrow here, if you can see now it says sends 1. And on this bass track that I'm playing, I've just got the reverb, but you see there, it's immediately taking control of the sends there. So if we, let's see, I'm gonna move to this piano part here. Oh, let's just set the piano sound up properly. And oh yeah, I just need to move to this mode. I'll explain why in a little bit. But okay, so we've got the piano running now, of course. And this is track 7. I can take the reverb off there. And if I want, I can move down. Now I'm on send 2, but we don't have anything on send 2. Go to send 3, I do have this ping pong delay. Move back up to the reverb. So you see, we've basically got some really nice knee controls over the mixer here in Cubase. Now, if I, let's see, if I now move to DAW control mode, so I press mode and the function button opens up DAW control. And now, if you look at the left-hand side on the inspector, you'll see those purple bars on the left-hand side there. And basically, these are what we call the quick controls in Cubase. And I can now just move these around. So basically, yeah, I've got access to all of these nice quick controls. And again, if I just move around to another track, you see we've got a whole load of different parameters there in the quick controls. Once again, without just moving the track, I can just then straight away take hold of those. Really super simple to work with. And it's just really powerful. You've got a lot more hands-on control than just doing all this with the mouse, which is really quite nice. So let's think about what's next. Aha, so yeah, you see on this piano track, we'll go back to the piano track there. Now, if you look here, if I just click on this, this will open up. Now I've got my EQ, and when we're in DAW control mode, here we have access to the EQ. I'm very sorry about my poor playing here. Just give you a quick, just using the OPXY as a little controller here. Do that. Anyway, so basically, yeah, that's a pretty chilled out kind of track there, isn't it? Oh, I didn't want, oh, sorry, I've just set up my Prophet X sample software. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to press the stop button. That's it, that's better. So basically, yeah, we've got this really lovely way of just being able to navigate our way around and basically access all the important stuff that we need to. We've got access to the mixer control, of course. We've got full controls there. Actually, if I take this switch out now, you can see now I can basically access all of these. I can bounce across as well to other tracks, and then very quickly just access those as well, which you can't see now because I've just brought that picture back up. But yeah, basically we've got access to all of that stuff. Another interesting thing as well is if I bring this back up, we've got our function buttons here at the bottom. So let's just move across to, where have we gone? There we go. To these function buttons. Now, if you see in Cubase, I can tap these function buttons and these will basically tell me, basically this is now a track selector, like so. If I press function again, it goes purple, and this is basically going to allow me to solo the tracks. Yeah, that's right, solo. And I can use this to solo different tracks or take them out. If I press again, we've got a record arm button now, and basically I can set this up to record arm the tracks for me. Pretty handy stuff. And again, if I switch across now, we go to the mute switch. Basically, I can just use these to basically, switch the mutes in. So we've got a whole lot of control. We've only got the 8 buttons here, but we've still got a lot of control, and of course that can move across to all the various different tracks as well. So that's an initial quick look at Ableton, and that was, sorry, not at Ableton, I beg your pardon, at Cubase. You can tell it's all live here. So I thought what we'll do now is we'll just have a quick look at Logic, and it's going to be pretty much largely the same kind of stuff that we've got going on here. Excuse me while I just restart things up here. So I'm just going to go to Start Logic. Let's see, we'll go to the screen here. Are you starting up? Yes, we are. Okay, so yes, excuse my background. Logic is loading up, and we'll bring the bring me in again. That's nice. Bring in the launch control, and you can see now straight away it's just picked up on Logic, so it knows that Logic is there. We're in the DAW mixer mode, so immediately again I've got straight away I've got control over the faders here. And so, without any kind of setup at all, it's all there automatically mapped for you. You don't have to spend time getting used to that. And then again, if I use the red controls at the top rows here, these are the pan controls. So again, nice to work with there. And if I press down, now I access the bus controls, and you can see here on the first 3-4 tracks here, we've got some bus routing set up. And immediately you can just send the stuff there. If I tap down, I can access the second row, tap down again, the third row, and the fourth row, which we've only got on the first track. But you can see there that we can access all of these sends immediately. We don't have to reach for the mouse at all. It's all just there directly in front of you. And so, yeah, really quite nice and easy to work with. And again, we've got the mixer control that we're looking at here. The function buttons at the bottom here again have their purpose. So this is the selector track switch again. So it lets me select the different tracks within Logic. If I press function again now, I've got the solo mode, and the colors change depending on the software that you're using, but you see here I've now soloed at the bottom of the mixer. Hopefully you can see that down here. We've soloed those tracks. Press the arm button, and we can use this to arm the tracks in Logic as well. So we've got all of this direct control underneath our fingertips, and then of course we've got the mute switches as well. So that's nice. That's the mixer control that we have. If we switch into the DAW control mode, and immediately, we've just pulled up the EQ now. So once again, I don't have to set anything up. I've just got access to that track's EQ, and I can obviously make any sort of changes to the EQ settings there. Really straightforward and simple to work with. But then I've got my top row, and the top row are actually connected to the smart controls in Logic. So if I just close this down, we've got a whirly sound here. If I just hit the smart controls switch here, that opens them up. Now let me see, maybe I can just move the not that one, move, let's see, sorry about this, picture this one. Let's move that out of the way so we can see what's going on. Now the top controls here immediately letting me control the parameters of that instrument again. And so, again, really super simple to work with. And it's just giving you that really lovely hands-on control that you don't have to set up. You don't have to spend time kind of, you know, configuring it all. It's all there ready for you. And it's just really nice to work with. If I switch down to a different track, let's go to retro synth. That's a good one as well. So now, of course, I've got access to these nice controls here in the retro synth. And, you know, so basically these are kind of following me around the software and letting me, yeah, basically just automatically control the smart controls directly in Logic. Of course, one thing I should mention is we've got 8 custom modes down here as well. And if I switch to mode 8, yeah, mode 8 is kind of, this is a reserved custom mode. So we can't actually save over this one, but what we do have now is another 16 set of pots that you can essentially map wherever you like within the software. So if you want to do a bit of MIDI learning and that sort of thing, these are all fair game. But to be honest with you, all 8 of these custom modes are fair game. If you're working primarily in the box, in the software, you can access these, and then you can create your own custom mappings if you want using MIDI Learn. MIDI Learn is a thing on most pieces of software nowadays. So you can just do that. And yeah, and so obviously, you know, you've got 8 times 16, which my maths is not particularly strong, so somebody will probably mention it in the chat. But yeah, so basically we've got a heck of a lot of control in here. So that's using Logic Pro. I thought I'd just experiment a little bit, and I'm going to step out totally outside of my comfort zone here. So I'm going to open up Bitwig because we've got a really great script for Bitwig. So let's see, hopefully this will open up onto the right screen. Here we go. We'll open this one. Yep. Okay. Is that the right one? Here we go. This is the one. Oh, and let's go back to this mode. Now you might wonder why I'm going to the mode 8 here. The reason for that is that I'm using a MIDI merge feature. I'll go into that in a little bit of depth as we move through the presentation. But basically, MIDI merge is allowing me to use a controller keyboard of my choosing, and I can use that to pass through the launch control. So I can, in fact, let me just, if I switch to this shot, not this one, but this one, nope, this one. I've got the OPXY. Now, of course, you know, there are a lot of great controllers out there. You know, we make great controllers ourselves, but what I wanted to do in this evening's presentation is really show you how you can use the launch control, connect to various different pieces of hardware. But on the OPXY is a little keyboard. And I'm sending the MIDI out from the OPXY to the MIDI in of the launch control. The launch control is doing a clever thing. It's then converting that MIDI signal into USB. And of course, in Bitwig over here, the USB is getting picked up by the software, and so I'm able to use that. Now, I've switched to mode 8 because that is set to take MIDI input and send it to the USB. If I go to the other custom modes that I've got on here, that's sending MIDI to all various different places on the desk here. So that's the reason why I'm using that reserved custom mode there to basically transfer MIDI input to USB so then I can play the sounds in my computer. But once again, here we are in Bitwig. And again, if we switch now to DAW Mixer, as we would expect, we've got control of the mixer page. And then at the top here, we've got the control for the pans. So largely kind of similar sort of stuff here that's going on. And then again, if I press down here, now I've got access to my send controls. Hopefully you can see this on the second channel. I've got a comb filter sound going on there. If I go down again, I've got a tremolo effect in the returns tracks there. So that I can send these signals over to the returns and have them affected. In fact, if I just play on, let's see, where are we? Oh, no, we want to go back to this track. There's the tremolo. If I move back up now, go to the comb filter. Oh, no, that's pan. Go to the comb filter now. There we go. There, that's the comb. So basically, yeah, we can use that to send out to the various different send and return tracks. Now again, if I go into DAW control mode, and let's go to this instrument and play. Now if I move a control, you can just see at the bottom there, we get a list of the various different controls that have been configured to this synth. So let's bring the attack down, release, maybe add a little bit of the distortion, a bit of the chorus reverb. So we've got a really neat way of, again, being able to control the main parameters there as well. And this again follows you around. So if I move to a different track, now if I start to play around with the oscillator sub, so it's got all this stuff just basically following you around and giving you hands-on control. And all I'm having to do really is just switch to the track. So let's go to, yeah, the comb filter here as well. I've got access to the parameters there for the comb filter. Yeah, so I mean, we've got a really neat set of controls here, again, in Bitwig. So, yeah, so basically, I guess one thing I'd say is that for all of these DAWs, you just basically plug them in and it's immediately going to take control over the software for you. And that's, again, just a really great workflow enhancement. And for something this kind of small and this affordable, just sticking it on the desk and immediately you're away, controlling all this stuff. It makes, yeah, it makes quite a big difference, I'd say. And I think it's, yeah, it's a really, really neat way. I always say when I'm talking about controllers, I've got my trusty mouse here. When I'm working with a mouse, I only have a single point of contact with anything in the computer. I can only click on one thing. I can only kind of move one control at a time. But when you've got a controller like the Launch Control 3 here, yeah, you've got 16 different parameters there immediately in front. And then of course that's dynamically moving around as you're choosing different tracks and different instruments. And it means that basically you're kind of, yeah, you're getting full kind of very nice hands-on control over your software, yeah, in a nice small portable format, really. Okay, now I'm going to switch Bitwig. Let's quit Bitwig for now, and I'm going to go to my sort of more of my stomping ground, I would say, which is really Cubase. And Cubase, again, you can tell it's live. It's is basically Ableton Live. And yeah, I had a bit of fun with this one because I revisited an old video I did on the original Launch Control way back when, and I just thought that the demo track that was that I used for that was, yeah, there was some nice beats and stuff in there, and I thought, well, that'd be a nice easy thing to kind of demonstrate with. So yeah, so I've managed to find it, and yeah, and I've managed to yeah, sort of reappropriate it for use here. So let's switch back to the screen. You can see here I've got Ableton Live set up. We'll bring in the there we go, a nice running joke for the for the live stream. Oh dear me. Anyway, well, now we're into Ableton Live, and again, if I switch to DAW mixer mode, once again, you see straight away I've got access to my fader controls here. With the pan controls, they're available for me as well straight away, no problems at all. With the sends, it's a slightly different thing. In fact, I'll just start off a couple of beats there. Oh, and I'll just, yep, switch off a few little bits here as well. Okay, I was noodling around before. We've just got a kind of pretty simple kind of old set of samples running here. Okay, so I'll just bring those up a little bit in terms of the volume. Now, so yeah, we've got our pan controls. Put them hard left, hard right, as wherever you want them to be in the mix, of course, there. Now, if I want to control my send effects, again, I can still do this, but what I need to do is I need to just press Shift and then down in Ableton. Now, when you've done that, now the top row is basically controlling send A. So So pretty straightforward. I can also switch down, maybe add some reverb. Switch back up, get the delay out a bit. And so on and so forth. And you can see there's a little readout here on the screen. In fact, it's telling me that we're now controlling row C, which is set to a beat repeat. So back to the beat repeat, take that off, and we can just keep going. For example here, this is one of my favourite effects in Ableton, the resonator. So I'm going to set the kick, and yeah, we'll set both tracks to the resonator. And of course I can bounce around here and access the different tracks. And on this track here I've got the phosphat and the compressor as well. Bit of effects. We'll talk about the phosphat in a little while. But if I move over to the end over here, you can see now I'm able to actually now, if I go to mode, DAW control mode, I can now start to take control of the instruments on here as well. Now I want to know where the pitch control is for the resonator. So I'm just going to hold the shift button and I can move the pots here, and it's going to give me a readout without sending a message. So I know that this one here is the pitch control in the resonator. So now that I've located it, that's great. I can start to play around with that. And I can play around maybe with some of the other pitches on there as well. Pitch here, this is so it's just giving me a really neat way of being able to control it. Now what's really nice here is that I'm able to, basically use the launch control 3 and send that over to the return channels in Ableton and actually control the effects in there, as well as, of course, the effects in all the different parts as well. So so let's go to. We'll go to. I'll go to this pad sound. This is a nice one. Yeah. Now for this, I'm going to switch to the Launchpad S. Launchpad X even. Launchpad S was the original when the launch control was around, but Launchpad X. And that's just going to play this nice pad sound. Just going to bring that down a touch in volume. It's a bit tasty there. Let's see, if I maybe, we'll go back to this and we'll add in the screen and the Ableton here. So you can see hopefully a little bit more. So again, I'm in the mixer mode here, so this is controlling the volume. Just see that on the far side of the screen there, that's the volume for there, and I've got my pan controls and my send effects as well. Of course, move up to the pan. So yeah, send it to the left and the right, okay, fine. But let's say I want to start to control the instrument. So if I press mode and function again, go to DAW control, and now, hopefully you can just see in the instrument section at the bottom here, I've got some macros set up here. Bring that noise down a little bit. So I can play around with the settings on here. Now, if I press shift and down, you might see now in Ableton, the blue hand kind of moves around. The blue bar there moves around on the instruments. And yeah, it's quite small. In fact, maybe let's just go to the screen here. You can see I can move around and I can move and choose the sound, the effect that I want. So here we go, we're on the auto filter now. And if I go to, auto filter, So now I can control the auto filter. Maybe I want to then basically go to the, to the delay. Add a bit of dry wet to that. Maybe switch off the sync. Maybe play around with the time a bit. And then maybe go back to the effect of the auto filter. Change the filter type, change the resonance. Basically, I've got access to all of the parameters of any instrument really in Ableton, which is really neat. So there we go. Okay, so I mean I'd say that's a good, a good sort of general look there at the the way that we've configured it with a DAW. And so I mentioned, we've got Cubase, Logic, Ableton, FL Studio. There's some stuff in for FL Studio as well. Nice control there. If you're a Huey-based DAW, so Reaper, Pro Tools, and a number of other different DAWs, I think Studio One or Fender Studio, as it's known now, is also Huey as well. This controller is just going to give you, really nice control over that sort of stuff as well. So that's it, working in terms of, working in terms of the computer. But I think it's really good to go into some more of the kind of the hardware stuff that we've got going on here as well. Because, obviously all of the control of your DAW is coming out really through the USB connection there. But on the back of the Launch Control XL, we've got MIDI in, we've got MIDI out, and we've got MIDI out 2 here, which will also double as a MIDI through. So MIDI through basically will just take the signal that comes in here and essentially mirror it coming out of here. So it's just almost like a little loop that connects those two connections together and then sends it out. So if I have a controller keyboard, I can play through the Launch Control and send that further on down the MIDI chain to get hold of stuff. But the Launch Control, and of course the Launch Control XL as well, and the 1.1 update for the Launch Control XL, which I've got here, my trusty XL, we've been working quite a bit on the merging of the merging capabilities on the Launch Control range, and this I think is really, really neat stuff. So let me see, I'm going to switch to, which mode am I going to go to? I'm going to go to the OP1 mixer here. Okay, so so on the OP1 mixer, you can see the OP1's running at the minute. This is actually being clocked through the Launch Control. The clock is being sent by Ableton Live, and that's coming in to run the into the OPXY. So I'm going to just trigger something here on Ableton, and I'm going to basically get rid of that resonator now. We don't need that now. So down to the resonator. It's track 1. Track 2. Okay, there we go. And now let's go function. Oops, sorry, mode. And we're going to go to the OP1 mixer. And I'm going to bring in a beat from the OP1 now. And this is track 1 here. And basically, I've got a whole set of mute switches for the OPXY set up on the Launch Control. And essentially, that's just basically letting me use the kind of the, this is as a mute state switch. So I can bring in different parts. So I'll bring in part 4. If we look at the mixer here, it might be a bit difficult to see, but see they're kind of getting grayed out and coming back out. So once again, I've got access to my faders here. So track 2 is the one playing. There it is. And so, yeah, so basically I've got Ableton sending its clock message into the Launch Control. That's coming out of the MIDI out, I think it's MIDI out 2 I'm using, coming into the OPXY, and it's giving me control. So I've got my mixer controls here. I've basically put volumes on this, but I've also, if I just switch to this track and we'll just look at the envelope here, I've also put the envelope shapes on here to allow me to basically start to control a bit more synth parameter stuff here. So let's unmute part 4. And if I just tap that, you get to see the filter for the envelope for the filter. Okay, so that's just giving me a little bit of extra control. And this is just a mapping that I made myself the other day. So I'm going to switch to the track control now. If we go, for example, let's take a look at the filter page here. This is quite a nice one to see what's kind of going on. So I can use this to basically start to control the OPXY. Now obviously there are 8 different tracks in the OPXY. So how do I start to control different tracks on here? Well, I could feasibly set up, 8 different mappings on here and just basically use the function buttons to just bounce through the different tracks and access this stuff. But obviously on the launch control, it's a smaller, it's got a few less controls in it than the Launch Control XL. So you can kind of think about interesting and clever ways to manage this. So what will I do? Well, I shall bring in part 6. Okay, I'll just mute out those other parts there. In fact, we'll mute out the Ableton stuff as well. Just get a nice kind of pleasant sound. Now, at the minute, we're listening now to track 6. Oh, let's bring that up. We're listening to track 6, but at the minute I'm controlling track 4 with the launch control. So what we can do quite quickly is go to the settings, and I don't know if you can see this. In fact, let me just bring the little shot up there. We're on MIDI channel 4. But if I then move that to MIDI channel 6, now I'm going to be controlling things on channel 6. You see there, straight away controlling the filter. Now on this track, I can also add some reverb or delay. Maybe I'll send it through the tape track as well. If we look at the main parameter page, get to play around with the graphics here nicely. So obviously I'm here very quickly being able to control a lot more controls than I have normally on the OPXY. I've got the 4 controls here, but if I want to control the filter and the synth controls at the same time, that's really not possible on the OPXY or any synth really, where you've got your various different pages and only a small handful of controls. So that's just a really nice thing. So basically, yeah, I can just do that by going into the settings and just changing the MIDI channel that I want to. Okay, so that's kind of one example here of kind of what we're doing. If let's go to the, no, not that bass line. What I was going to do is go to the mode that gives me my S4 mixer. Okay, and yeah, let's just check on the mixer page here. Yep, I've got a nice beat on this 4th track here, and this is going to play that 4th track. So press that, and we'll get a bars counting. Here we go. I can bring in another track here. So now, once again, I've got control over my faders for the S4. I've also got control of the filters. And again, the nice thing about this is, on the S4, if I want to control the filters, I have to, oh no, they are on the same page. Yes, I've got them there. So I beg your pardon. What is it that I don't have? Oh yeah, the pan controls here. So we send stuff out off the left-hand, right-hand side. And if you see on here, nothing's moving on the S4. But if I press mix again, you can see now I've got my pan controls. So it's just opening up extra levels of control over the hardware. Yeah, without having to actually go to the hardware itself. It's just all here directly in front of me. And of course I've got the S4 being controlled here and the OPXY. So if I switch back to the OPXY, let's bring in another part here. And then I've got my Ableton set here as well. So So all of this stuff is just kind of going really from one kind of central control point here. Go back to my DAW mixer here. It's okay, bring the volumes down. You know what? Go and change some of these settings on, the effects. So go up to the delay. So this really is a kind of a nice hybrid system that we've got running here at the minute. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about, and this is kind of, obviously this is correct for the launch control, but also for the launch control XL as well. I think it's good to note, because with the firmware update, there were some really interesting things that got added to this. So if I want to get to my settings, I just press the two settings button together. Oh, I need to go to, yeah, we'll go to that mode there. Press the two settings buttons together. And we can configure our global MIDI channel. So basically, this is, I think, what we did before for the, when I was changing the track, or changing the controls for the OPXY. I've only got one template for the XY here, so I can just change the MIDI channel here, and that will let me then basically control the track that I want to. Now the global MIDI channel is something that we can use within Novation components. We'll look at that in a moment, but let's just move down. A switch for MIDI through. So we've got MIDI through off at the minute, but if I switch that on, that's what I was talking about before. The MIDI input here will then exactly mirror here on the MIDI output, but we'll keep that off for now because I want this to be a second dedicated MIDI output instead. LED brightness, we can change the brightness of the LEDs with that, of course, so you can customize how it looks. The screen brightness, again, we can change that. We can take it right down if you don't want it to be too bright, or we can, we can have it on full brightness if you want. The display timeout, we can just basically see how long the display lasts before it times out. We've got up to 10 seconds with that. And this is what I wanted to get to, but the encoder curves. So obviously when the Launch Control XL came out, a lot of people were talking about, it would be great if it would be possible to kind of adjust the way that the curves feel in the launch control and the encoders. Some people, have their own preferences as to how the curve settings are. And so for the 1.1 firmware for the Launch Control XL, we've added 3 customizable, well, I say customizable, you can customize it to be one of 3 of the encoder curves. So you can have a slow curve, so it just takes a little bit longer to spin round, maybe a little bit more detail if you like, medium, so obviously in the middle. Mine's set to fast, that's just kind of how I enjoy working with mine. I set it to fast so I can move things pretty swiftly. So that was something that came along in the new update. So those are the settings in the Launch Control and the Launch Control XL. In fact, you'll see pretty much everything that we've got here in the Launch Control is pretty much identical on the Launch Control XL. So if we come back to the mode here, I'm going to press Shift and Mode, and this takes me to my mode settings. And it comes up with this thing, which is Merge. And I think hopefully this is going to be, yeah, I'm going to see, let's switch mode off. I'm going to go to S4 track 2. That's what I wanted. On a MIDI channel. Okay, so now you see I'm playing on a MIDI track on the OPXY, going into the Launch Control, and it's coming out now to the S4. Now what's going on here? Well, basically, I still have my control over the S4. If I go to this track, and you can see, oh, hang on, let's just make sure we can see the right track. There we go. So you can see here, I'm able to basically play with the cutoff here. I can go into the granular engine. I've got basically set up, so I've got the granular engine and the filter controls here. Again, I could expand that out over several mappings and the custom modes. But what I'm doing here is I'm controlling the S4 with a MIDI message, a CC message. That's going to the S4 and telling the filter cutoff to come down. That's great. In traditional terms, the MIDI input here wouldn't necessarily pass with the additional signals. Oh, that's not on wet, is it, Billy? Where are my controls? Where are they all now? Okay, here. Where's the decay? There it is. But basically, yeah, normally I wouldn't be able to play from an external keyboard and co-join that with the MIDI signals from the launch control and pass that onto a device like this. That's basically what merge is doing. So if I look at the merge settings here, you can see my merge is turned to on. If I take that off now, no MIDI signal is being joined to the output from the launch control. The launch control is still doing its thing, but there's nothing being merged. There's no MIDI notes being merged with that. So we'll switch that back on. And then we've got a bit deeper with this as well. We've got the merge filter and the merge out channel as well. Now the merge filter is basically saying, okay, there are 16 channels coming out of the OPXY or any MIDI control or any kind of sequencer or whatever, any kind of device. There are 16 channels, but on this custom mode, we're just going to listen to one channel. And on my OPXY here, it's set to be output on MIDI channel 1. So that's coming in here. And if I change the channel here, again, I'm not getting any sound through. But if I then move to channel 2, now obviously I'm hearing it with some drum samples here as well, but you get the idea. Basically, the filter is saying, okay, only listen to MIDI channel 1, okay, which is great. So put that back to MIDI channel 1, go back to MIDI channel 1. And if I go down now, this is where it gets quite clever, I think, is now we can also channelize where that merged MIDI is going out to. Now you might say, well, why wouldn't that just go out to MIDI channel 1? Well, not everything can exist on MIDI channel 1. If you've got a few pieces of gear, you might need to find a different MIDI channel, a free MIDI channel or free upper MIDI channel to be able to use that. And if I look at my configuration here on the S4, MIDI channel, track 1 MIDI channel is 9, track 2 MIDI channel, which is where this piano sound is channel 10. So again, I'm basically allowing MIDI channel 1 input here to be translated to output on MIDI channel 10, which is the right channel for the track that I'm on here. So that's nice. But again, if I change that MIDI channel here, we'll go to MIDI channel 9. I'm now controlling the thing that's on track 1. So this is a really neat way, a really, really fancy solution really of being able to take any kind of MIDI input signal and then basically translate that to send it to the right place. So really neat system. It's like basically a kind of a MIDI router. And again, that can be per custom mode as well. So if I go to the first custom mode, which I know is for track 1 on the S4. Oh, he says, oh, hang on, let's, yeah, I'm in custom mode, I mean settings, not in actual custom mode. So let's go back, now go back to track 1. Yeah, there we go. And again, if I look on track 1 here and look at the filter, go to the granular here. Just add a few bits. So yeah, so you get a really nice set of controls. Add a bit of the filter wave to it. And the contour, which is this one. Which is nice. And if I go to my S4 mixer controls, oh, now at the minute, yeah, I'm not getting any signal because this, I think, is set to merge off. That's right. So again, I'll switch merge on here, go down, merge input channel 1, and we'll send that out to channel 9. There we go. So I can still play, and I can add the reverb. And play around with the volume. So there we go. So that I would say is a pretty comprehensive kind of look at the launch control in terms of what it does. Basically, the launch control is kind of what it is, what you want it to be, really. So, you know, how do we configure it? How do we create these custom modes? Well, as is often the case with any of the live streams that we do, if I switch to here we go, Novation components. And so, yeah, in components, basically you can access a nice little graphic of the launch control and simply just, you know, click on any of the parameters you want to change. This is the one that I made for the OPX track controls earlier. And basically it allows me to essentially configure these different knobs to do exactly what I want them to do. So this first one here is set to a control change, but if I click on that, you can see I could set that to an NRPN, a non-registered parameter number as well, if I wanted to. Switch to that, and now I get the details for the NRPN controls. If we switch back to control change, there we go. It's back to, yeah, it's back to kind of how it was. I can change the color for the LED as well. So, you know, I can choose which color I want it to be. And so, yeah, basically I've got a whole load of stuff that I can set up here. On the switches at the bottom here, we've got a little bit more that we can kind of do with these. So, I mean, this is the mute switch that I created for the OPXY. But again, if I click here, you can see I changed that to a note message. So I can actually set up a small 8-note keyboard if I wanted. I could set it to be control change, which is what's happening here. I could set it to be a program change, and this is useful if you want to move through presets on synths as well. So you could set it to program change, and then you could have it as an increment or a decrement, or a decrement. So basically, I could set that as a move forward through your program changes, your different patches, or move backwards through your patch changes. And I could even say, well, okay, that's decrement, so let's go to this one. And we'll put that as increment, so program change, increment, and now I've got a forwards and backwards control for my parameters, not parameters, sorry, my presets on the instrument. So anything that works with program change, again, you can use the launch control to very quickly move through your different presets. Got NRPNs again, we saw before. These are kind of slightly, you know, these are unregistered parameter numbers that you can use. So sometimes synthesizers have more than 128 parameters, and the NRPNs allow people to, yeah, to basically use, basically use two numbers essentially, combine those to get extra controls. And with this as well, you can also change the resolution. And on the resolution, that's quite interesting. 7-bit is standard MIDI kind of resolution. But if you go to 14-bit, that essentially is an enormous leap. I mean, if you've ever seen how many values pitch bend wheels send out, basically that's a 14-bit control. So it gets very, very high resolution when you use 14-bit. Most of the time, you're going to basically stick with 7-bit. I mean, that's kind of where most would stick with, I would think. I can change the behavior. I can say it's a momentary switch, so it's only active when I press it, or it can be a toggle switch. So it's two actions. I can switch it on and then press it again to switch it off. I can set it to a specific MIDI channel, so I can choose the MIDI channel that I want, or I can keep it to the global channel. You basically, you know, I can basically set it up as I want it. And then here we have the color, and we have the off color, and then we have the on color. So when that switch is switched on, what happens? For this, which is which is a mute switch, I think basically it's set so that when it's yellow, if I remember correctly, on my OPXY track thing, when it's yellow, I think it's muted. When it's white, it's active. So so you can just basically set this up. Now the last thing, just quickly on the component software, is the keystroke here. And keystroke is really neat. Again, if you're working on your computer and you want to basically create a whole set of your own favorite shortcuts, you can click to assign a keystroke. And so now if I press, well, it's got to be Command and Z, hasn't it? Command and Z, undo. And you see it's put, it's put that in there. And now you can see, and I could give it a label. We could call it undo, undo, there it is. And now we've set up a keystroke from your QWERTY keyboard and stored it as a very quick, easy access shortcut. So really nice, quick, easy way to do that. When you've set up your stuff, you can quite easily save it. I'm not going to do that now because that'll write over the setup that I made. But basically, yeah, I mean, I've got here in my own, I've got here a whole load of different things that I created the other day, just simply for demonstrating the launch control with. But also, if you look down here, there's a whole load of custom modes that are available at launch with the launch control as well, including things like, oh god, yeah, the good old trusty Octatrack mixer. Gosh, those were the days. The Octatrack mixer was the very first thing that I did with as a video for Novation many moons ago, and I used the original Launch Control XL to control an Octatrack, because the Octatrack doesn't have any kind of real mixer page for all the multiple tracks that are on there. And so I used the Launch Control XL, and and basically, I had to use the computer as the MIDI interface, because of course back then the Launch Control XL was a USB device. So I had, a guy called it the biggest MIDI interface he'd ever seen, in the form of an Apple MacBook Pro. Now, of course, with the Launch Control and with the Launch Control XL, in fact, I can pick this up and show it to the camera because we can see it's a bit out of focus, but you can see we've got our nice, solid 5-pin DIN, in, out to or through as well. So you can connect that to whatever you want to now. And it's really, really powerful way of doing it. Okay, so I think, I've kind of gone through the product now. Hopefully that's given you a decent insight into all of the things that it's capable of. We looked at several DAWs. We didn't just look at the one. We didn't just look at Ableton, which is where often we often land, but we actually looked at all the different DAWs there and saw some of the really nice control that you've got with that. But also, controlling hardware, creating custom modes, and also using the launch control as a nice hybrid system as well. So it connects directly to the computer, but also then, allows you to control and, basically manage your hardware at the same time. Launch control in this instance, this is really, it's essentially the central hub of everything. So, I've got here the launch pad, which is representing the DAW Ableton in that instance, but the launch control is also farming MIDI to the S4, to the OPXY. Obviously these are just two examples. There's lots, anything that works with MIDI it will connect with. Obviously if you're, working in, MIDI, in music creation with MIDI, a MIDI controller is a really powerful thing to have. But also if you're interested in live VJing as well, using Resolve or Resolume, I'm not quite sure how you call that, but something that, you'd like to have, again, more physical hands-on control for. Really powerful little box. And I think the great thing about the launch control, as I've been kind of banging on about, I guess, is just the size, the portability of it. Obviously, if I compare it to the Launch Control XL, you can see here, there's quite a bit of difference in terms of the size. Actually, there's quite a bit of weight really in the Launch Control XL, considering. And obviously, there are a few differences really, I guess. You can see we've got 2 rows of encoders on the Launch Control, 3 rows of encoders on the Launch Control XL, and we've got the 8 faders there as well, 2 rows of buttons. And of course, there's another addition there. We've got the record and play. We've got the transport buttons there. So, accepting those encoders, those faders, a row of buttons and the transport controls, you're still getting a lot of that power, and pretty much everything else is pretty identical, really. So if this is, a little bit too, a little bit too big perhaps, or just a bit beyond kind of what's required, the launch control I think can really step into that. In addition, if you're thinking, okay, the launch control is giving me a lot of really nice, great controls, but I'd love to have an additional controller, launch control is a really nice way of kind of, extending that setup really. Same with the launch pads as well. If you're a launch pad user, launch pads are really, obviously, a great way of controlling different aspects of DAW software. Launchpad Pro, of course, is a sequencer in its own right as well, really powerful sequencer. But what the launch pads don't have, of course, is that kind of nice continuous pot encoder style control. So I'm going to probably finish up now in terms of the kind of the presentation. I've spoken long enough. I'm going to take a quick look at some of the some of the questions just to see if anything's come through that I can kind of answer live here. Yeah, let's see. So one question, hi CALC. Can the XL3 perform all the tasks of the Mark III? Oh, are we talking Launch Control XL3 versus Launch Control Mark III? Okay. Well, essentially, yeah, it can perform all of the same things. It can do all of the same things. It's just, you know, as I say, there's less controls on there. But in terms of what these controls can do, it can do all of that stuff. Also, you know, I mentioned before, we don't have the transport controls on the launch control, on the smaller one here. But there's absolutely nothing stopping you from using, you know, the buttons at the bottom here and essentially, you know, configuring those using a MIDI learn to say, okay, that's record, that's play. You know, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that as well. So, you know, I would say in that respect, yeah, the Launch Control 3 can pretty much do everything that the Launch Control XL can. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's pretty much, yeah. People seem pretty happy with the launch control, which is great. I mean, I think it's a really wonderful little piece of kit and really useful. And you know, for its size and its price, there's a lot of power in there as well. Yeah. Oh, one thing I didn't really mention is the LEDs so much, but the LEDs are really nice as well. Basically, if you can see here, it's a bit difficult perhaps with the lights, but they do light up and go dimmer as you kind of change your values. I don't know if it's possible to see because I've got the lights on in the room here. It might sort of stop it, but it just gives you a nice indication of where you are in your, yeah, in you know, with your controls as well. That and of course the readout here on the screen, which is, you know, is really, really helpful, really useful. Anyway, yeah, that's probably enough of that. Should I do it one last time? No, I'm not going to. I was just going to see if I could mess up the screen again, but I kind of messed it up here. Let's see. There we go, that's better. Okay, right, I'm going to finish up now. But thank you very much for joining us. I hope it's been interesting for you. And yeah, I'd really urge you to go and, you know, have a play around with the launch control. If you get a chance to, you know, go to your local store, support your local stores, find out where you know, your local Novation stockist is. And go and try it out because it's, yeah, it's a lot of fun to work with. Okay, right, well, I shall finish up for now. And yeah, I guess all it remains for me to say is thank you very much. And I hope you have, yeah, a good time wherever you are. And yeah, see you the next time. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay.